So let's talk a little bit more about these forced sheltering laws that are going on around the United States. That's the big hot issue. They're not talking about inflation. They're not talking about the U.S. dollar crashing. They're no longer addressing the open borders. They are not talking about anything else other than forcing people, homeless people, into some sort of state shelter, some type of sheltering, lockdown sheltering system. And it's aimed, well, at least through the media, it's aimed at mentally ill, drug addicted people in urban areas that are urinating on the ground and whatnot. But that's not what this is about. This is more to force people into or on grid, I should say, because what's going to happen is they're going to start going after all these people who either own land or are camping on land that their current owner is not reporting as a trespasser. They're going to start forcing these people into shelters. If you're collecting water through rainwater, or if you have a hand pump well, if you're using solar panels to generate electricity, they will be targeting you. And if you don't believe me, go look at that documentary, Welcome to Lilth. Leith. Welcome to Lilth. Now, Lilth is a small, shitty town in North Dakota. Some guy who was sick of it all went there and decided he was going to buy land and he was going to make this an all white town. Okay, 35 people live in Lilth. This one guy said he was going to make it an all white town, and the entire world attacked him. And the way they pushed him out was by utilizing these local health code ordinances, because he had hand pumped wells for water, and he had his own sewer system that was far superior than any septic tank. But they used this to drive him out of this small town. Outsiders did, because you can't. White people aren't allowed to have their own place anymore, and pretty soon the patriot who chooses to live off grid on his own private property in the mountains will no longer have that choice either. So the reason why they want everyone to have a smart meter in their home for electricity and for water is so they can control your speech. So they can shut these utilities down, just like they can shut down your debit card if you violate a rule of the third party banking or financial institution that these little debit cards are using. Just like your YouTube account or Facebook. If you say undesirable things, they suspend your account for a period of time. And this is constitutional. It's constitutional because technically the government isn't doing it. And once you start privatizing government, now it's no longer government, it's a private entity, and you are subject to follow their rules. So they're going to be forcing everyone who is off grid through these new forced sheltering laws to either get put into a state shelter or to put smart meters on their property and to properly get the proper permits for their water, hookup, sewage, etc., etc., etc. They want these people online. They want everyone to have a smart fridge, so they know what kind of groceries you're buying. They're going to suspend your ability to purchase groceries if you say things that they do not want you speaking about. This is coming. The technology is being put in place, and you have to keep your eyes open for legislation like this. This forced sheltering legislation has nothing to do with the crazy guy who's urinating on the sidewalk, and it has everything to do with the gun-owning patriot who is up in the mountains trying to raise his family outside of the New World Order. beware. I mean, it's here. And like I said, you want to see a glimpse of the future? Look at that documentary, Welcome to Lilith. And that will give you an idea of how they will force people who buy land, pay cash, buy land, purchase land, no matter where you're at. Could be a little bitty small town, 35 people in North Dakota. If you're not following the rules of the NWO, they will utilize local ordinances and the local sheriff. And I always say this, there's no such thing as a constitutional sheriff. Your local sheriff is the teeth of the deep state, and he will obey. There's nothing he won't do to protect his pension. You believe that? Those big six-figure pensions come with responsibilities, and those responsibilities are set by the New World Order. So now you know what these forced sheltering / new homeless laws are all about. It has nothing to do, like I said, with the guy urinating on the sidewalk. It has everything to do with the guy who is trying to raise his children outside of this crazy world. And if you will be penalized, you will be penalized for the things you say, and pretty soon you will be penalized for the thoughts that you have. Yes, they figured a way to collect those electrons, those little atoms that are swimming outside of your head, carrying all your thoughts around. They figured out a way to collect these, and they will use this to penalize you. So again, these new laws, these new forced sheltering laws, will target the independent man who is trying to live outside of the system.